Hey guys, it's Jamie from BestNerdLife. Today we're going to be talking about the Retro8 Wireless Pro Controller for the NES Classic, the Wii and the Wii U. Manufactured in 2012 by RetroBit, this third-party controller offers plug-and-play functionality, a 2.4 GHz wireless connection, and it's described as heavy-duty, although I don't know if that's entirely true, but I'll talk about that later on. Before we open this thing, let's just take a moment to marvel at the absolutely fantastic design of the box. The packaging has a bright, modern design with just a slight hint of pixel art scattered throughout. As a designer myself, I think it's a very nicely designed package. It displays the controller very prominently, and it also displays the wireless adapter that you get with it. This nice design continues on the back of this package, and you get a little bit more information about what this thing actually is. I'm going to bring it up so you guys can read it a bit better, potentially. Hopefully you can see it on camera. The marketing blurb near the top says, "Always dreamt of using your NES controller with your favourite NES or Wii and Wii U games? Now you can. Retrofitted by RetroBit, this wireless controller is compatible with the NES Classic Edition, the Wii, the Wii U, giving you that classic NES feel." Now, that's a pretty cool marketing blurb. It doesn't exactly tell you much about what you're getting, but it definitely tries to sell you this item. Below that marketing blurb, there's some more information in English, French, Portuguese, I believe, Spanish, and German. This controller offers the aforementioned 2.4 GHz wireless connection. You also get a micro USB charge cable included. It has a built-in 480 mAh lithium-ion battery supporting up to 10 hours of gameplay, and it's compatible with the NES Classic Edition, Wii and Wii U. They definitely drive home the fact that this thing is for those particular systems. Just to make sure you know. Interestingly, in the bottom left of the package, it does say that a portion of the proceedings generated from the purchase of this item will be donated to the Kids in Need Foundation, which is pretty cool. I assume that means if you bought it direct from RetroBit. I actually bought this secondhand, so I don't know, unfortunately. Also, worryingly, in the bottom right-hand corner, it says, "Warning. This product contains chemicals known to the state of California to cause cancer and birth defects and other reproductive harm," which is slightly worrying to say the least. But with that being said, let's get this thing open. Now, as I said before, I did buy this second-hand, so I didn't actually get everything that was meant to be included in this box. More specifically, I didn't get the micro USB charger, but to be honest, that's fine because I have like 1,000,001 USB chargers. I can absolutely spare one for a few like hours or minutes or whatever to charge this thing, so I wasn't worried all that much. And here we have the RetroBit Retro8 Wireless Pro Controller in all its glory. I have just zoomed in the camera a little bit just so you can see this a little bit better. Now, this thing looks pretty similar to the NES controller. It's got the same kind of rectangular, bulky design, very simplistic. It does say on the packaging that it's heavy duty. I kind of get that. It does seem pretty solid in its design, so I wouldn't worry too much about dropping this. I don't think that would break it. However, the actual buttons and face of this controller, I do have a bit of problem with. Most of it is just plastic, kind of no texture on it or anything like that, but the black and grey area on the front is slightly textured, which is quite nice to feel. In terms of buttons, it has the usual D-pad, start select, B and A, but it does also have a on and off button, which, turns it on and off. While this controller is heavily inspired by the original NES one, there are a few other noticeable differences. In particular, the B and A button are shifted slightly, so they're not next to each other, they're skewed ever so slightly, and the D-pad doesn't have the directional arrows imprinted onto them. Coming back to the B and A button, these are actually convex, where they kind of curve outward slightly, whereas the original NES controller buttons were convex, where they're kind of curved inwards. In regards to the positioning of them, I actually prefer this kind of layout to the original. I've actually also seen other people talk about how they think that the A and B buttons should be skewed the other way, so the A button is here, the B button is there. But in my opinion and my experience, this layout is quite good. In terms of when I'm holding the controller, for example, I put my finger between the two and kind of roll back and forth. I feel that's a much more natural, easier motion than if they were the other way around. So I'd have to kind of rock my thumb in a much more exaggerated manner. I feel like moving them left to right like this is a much easier motion for me. But that's just my opinion. I have also noticed that the D-pad doesn't feel as responsive. For an example, if you want to press the left button and then shift to down, there is almost no movement whatsoever, which just doesn't feel right. There doesn't feel like there's any kind of rocking mechanism beneath the controller. It feels very, very cheap in that sense, and it doesn't give that kind of feedback that you would expect from using a D-pad. I did actually go on the RetroBit website to see if they actually still sold these, and it does seem like they have discontinued these controllers, which is kind of understandable because 2 out of 3 consoles that these controllers are made for just don't seem to be popular anymore. It's understandable why they haven't continued to sell these. They do have something similar with a similar design, I assume for more modern consoles, so don't be surprised if you see another RetroBit controller on this channel, because I'm actually quite interested in seeing how much they've progressed in their controller designs. And if RetroBit is watching this video, then I would happily jump at the chance at getting another one of your controllers, a newer model, and just comparing them and see how much they've progressed in the time that you release this. In any case, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then by all means like, comment, subscribe, all that social media goodness, and as always, keep trying to live that best nerd life.